Alison Lundergan Grimes is locked in a tight race for the Senate in Kentucky with Mitch McConnell right now. It's down to just the last few weeks. They can't afford any slip-ups. Recently, though, she was interviewed by the Louisville Courier-Journal about her voting history. Let's see if we consider this a slip-up that might cost her the race.
Did you vote for President Obama, 2008, 2012?
You know, this election, it isn't about the president. It's about making sure we put Kentuckians back to work.
Did you vote for him?
I was actually in 2008 a delegate for Hillary Clinton, and I think that Kentuckians know I'm a Clinton Democrat through and through. I respect the sanctity of the ballot box, and I know that the members of this editorial board do as well.
So you're not going to answer?
Again, I don't think that the president is on the ballot as much as Mitch McConnell might want him to be. It's my name, and it's going to be me who's holding him accountable for the failed decisions and votes that he has made against the people of Kentucky.
Okay, this is why people hate politicians. And this is why I didn't want her to run, even though everybody in the Democratic Party establishment loves her, because she's
pretty.
She's an attractive candidate in many different respects. Because look, to be fair, the other possibility was Ashley Judd, who's even prettier, right? And who was a celebrity, etc. But I would have rather had Ashley Judd, because even a celebrity is far more of a real person than these polished politicians, right? And so she gives answers like this, which seem to any person watching slimy, right? And so what the Democrats don't get is, okay, yes, she's good at raising money. She's held some office before. She comes from a political family. She's very polished. But that's why she will grate on people's nerves. The establishment love her. Oh, she's going to give just the right answers when she doesn't say anything, right? Whereas with Ashley Judd, at least we would have had a prayer that she was a real person and would have given real answers about what she really thinks. And I'm positive that Ashley Judd would not have answered, well, the sanctity of the ballot box. She would be like, yeah, of course I voted for Obama. Yeah. And what's much worse is giving this bullshit answer. Saying you voted for Obama when Obama's really unpopular in Kentucky might hurt a little bit, but it won't hurt as much as you being an obvious grimy politician. Okay? And of course, now the Republicans are beating her up for both of it, because it's obvious she voted for Obama, so they're beating her up for that, and they're beating her up for giving a slimy answer.
Well, I'm a Clinton Democrat. That's a dog whistle for I'm a moderate Republican.
Yeah.
So and she's in Kentucky, which is on the border of the Confederacy. So.
Well, what's amazing is that in Kentucky you have someone claiming they're a Clinton Democrat, because if you went back in time 8 years and you said I'm a Clinton Democrat, they'd have been like, you're practically a communist there, boy. I mean, it's like they hate the Clintons. In a lot of the South, especially Southern Republicans hate the Clintons.
Yeah. It's always made me uncomfortable.
Until Obama.
Who they hate even more.
Yeah.
So back in the day when the Republicans had even more of an advantage with Christians that they do now, some Democrats said we just need to start using the terminology of Christianity and that'll win them back over. But if you're not a true believer and you try to throw out that vocabulary, it never sounds quite right. Like the sanctity of the voting box, like it's the Ark of the Covenant, and if you were to break the seal, everyone's face would melt. Like it's not sanctified. Use that for marriage. That's what it gets used for in America.
But she's a Clinton Democrat, and Clinton taught Democrats that they had to sound like Republicans to win, and it's such bullshit because the Clinton Democrats took economic policies off the table. They, brought in NAFTA. They gutted welfare. They, repealed Glass-Steagall, destroyed collective bargaining, unions, and so forth. So they basically took all, sidled up to Wall Street. So by taking all the economic issues off the table, all that's left is God, guns, and gays. So if you're going to be a Clinton Democrat-ite, you sound like a Republican, and you have to talk on the social issues, and you have to carry a gun to these, these fairs they do in Kentucky and so forth. And
so yet another reason why I was against her candidacy. It doesn't have to be Ashley Judd. She was just the one person that was talked about in Kentucky. I mean, I'd rather take anybody from Kentucky almost than this person, right? Yeah. Because she's going to come in and talk like a Republican. But not only is it bad policy if you're a progressive, right? But it's also bad politics, because you're in essence saying the guy I'm running against is right, but I have a couple of bones to pick with him. I'm going to nitpick his policies. So you're sending all, at the very least, subconscious clues, let alone conscious and obvious clues to the population in Kentucky that he's right, vote for him. Yeah. It's a terrible, terrible strategy.
And it doesn't mean that
you have to take the most liberal positions there are in Kentucky. But it does mean you have to, as John was just saying there, you have to show some sort of strength. This is what I stand for, right? And unfortunately, that's another problem for these weak corporatist Democrats. I'm so sorry, I don't stand really for anything. And by the way, yeah, like exactly from Planet of the Apes, like, right?
But why are Democrats so scared of economic populism? Like,
I'll tell you what, that's the last point I was going to get to.
Bill de Blasio and Senator Warren, they've proven, and Bernie Sanders, they've proven there is a wave behind these people, but they're so afraid to talk in the language of true liberals.
That's the last reason why I didn't want this establishment candidate in Kentucky, a seat that is eminently winnable against McConnell, who is unpopular in Kentucky, who is a classic Washington politician who does corporate and crony capitalism. I mean, he is the poster boy for that, right? And the problem is she gets funding from the same sources he does. That's why she can't do populism. That's why she can't attack McConnell in the way that he should be attacked. If you got somebody who didn't have any money running against McConnell, they would stand a better chance. Now, most of the time, money wins, right? I get that. And you can't, if you don't have money, you can't get your message out. And you can get a better balance, right? I don't want necessarily someone with $0 running against them, but at least they would be untethered from the donors who control both parties here, and hence run a real campaign against McConnell, saying this son of a bitch doesn't represent you in Kentucky. He represents the same exact donors and lobbyists that you hate, right? The problem is, as we've shown in previous shows, I think their donors like overlap by about 70% or so. So they're bought either way.